What's going on there, guys? Okay, we're going to take a new route today. We're actually going to do a route that we did earlier, but in reverse. We're heading to the village of Zonya, and we're coming from, right now we're in Barragata. Barragata Heights. There's the Guam International Airport. Yeah, we're taking a bike. Even though it's rainy season, there's rain clouds all over. It's a chance that I'm willing to take because of how much gas is right now over here. Per gallon, I don't even know if you can make out those numbers there, but for 87 octane it's 365, or maybe I read that wrong, might be 85. And then for 91 octane, which I use on everything, is $4 a gallon. That's right, I said $4 a gallon. And even though my truck is a 4-cylinder truck, it's still going to eat 4 times the gas than this bike does. Give or take. But the downside of not taking a truck is look what we're riding into. I gave myself on this ride an 80% chance of being soaked by the rain. And I think my odds are correct, seeing what's in front of us, because over there where those clouds are at is the village of Zonya. That's where we're going. Do I want to ride in the rain? Absolutely not. I can't stand riding in the rain. But would I ride in the rain to not pay, for the gas to get there? Absolutely. Fair trade to me. Now, lately in the news, one of our senators is calling our gas companies out. Here in Guam, we have 3 major fuel providers, 4 counting the base, which I'm not a part of, so that doesn't count for me. We have three major fuel providers, and they all have the same exact price within 24 hours. I can't drive further to get cheaper gas. So while I was in the States, they had an app that showed me the cheapest price per gallon, and I would drive an extra mile or 2 to get that cheaper gas. The economics make sense if you're filling up. 2 miles, you're not going to use a whole gallon for 2 miles. Therefore, the savings is actually realized at probably 95% of its potential. Now, if I was on a quarter tank and going to drive 2 miles, 3/4 tank rather, and I was only going to fill up a quarter tank, then it's not worth it. It's not worth driving that extra 2 miles to get that small, minute discount. Now, for me, the huge savings is how many miles per gallon my truck gets versus this bike. Let's say conservatively, my truck gets 20 miles a gallon, which I don't even think it gets that. this bike gets about 60 miles a gallon. So you do the math, right? So it only makes sense. You're going to save a lot more fuel. The only thing is, again, you're not getting the convenience or the luxury of being inside a vehicle where you're not getting beat down by the sun as I am right now. You can choose to turn on the air conditioning, and you will not get wet from all this rain. But again, I don't have a deep enough wallet at this point to just say, you know what, it doesn't matter to me. I can afford it. And some people that do have the wallet still make that choice because they're thinking about the environment, they're thinking about, just savings overall. And it's worth it. Plus, here's one thing that this bike gives me that the truck doesn't give me, and that's fun factor. Okay, I don't jump in my truck and I'm like, oh man, I can't wait to drive this truck. Back when I was 16, hell yeah. At my age, not really. But I get that feeling when I jump on the bike, and you can't really put a cost to that. You can't associate that with a savings or a price, or the price of fun sometimes is unlimited. Although, be it I'm using the bike to do something for work, to make money, I still get the fun factor, right? So I'm accomplishing more than one thing. I'm not just doing it to save gas. Well, I am, but that's not the only reason. And I'm willing to take the 80% chance of getting soaked in the rain. Because in my situation at this moment, it won't matter to me. Now, if I was heading to class and I had an exam, or heading to class, period, I wouldn't take this risk because I'm not going to walk into class soaking wet, head to toe. But in my line of work right this moment, it doesn't matter. If I'm wet, dry, sweaty, doesn't matter. So, back to my point, man, sorry, the footage is getting real bumpy right now. These roads are crazy. It is like going through whoops right there. Anyway, back to my point of why you should have a dual sport bike. Especially in areas where there's not many wide open roads to ride on. Especially on an island like this where you can't drive from state to state. And where the roads are coral and really slippery at times. Especially right after rain. So a lot of people, ask this question, what dual sport should I buy? Well, what can you afford? And what are you going to be doing with the bike? If you're just a casual rider and you need the off-road capability, but it's not really what it's going to be used for, like you're just going to use it like what I'm using it for now, which is just the commute, then I would suggest getting the cheapest dual sport bike you can buy and go from there. And really, it doesn't matter what your budget is. I mean, if you're not, I always say this, you buy the tool to suit the purpose, right? you know, if let's say that how can I put this? Okay, let's say that you own a business, right? And in your business, everything is handwritten. Most things are handwritten. You do very little printing, or you do a lot of electronic letters and emails and very little paper. Why would you go buy the top of the line copy machine? Why would you go buy the top of the line printer? You're never going to use it. It's going to be there just in case. Now there's some people like that. They're just over the top, and they want the best of the best, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. But for most of us, where cost is a factor, I say get whatever you can get that's available to you, if that's the type of riding you're going to do. If you're just going to do commutes and you're not, you're getting at the same price of a brand new moped, you can probably get a brand new quality moped, I'd say. You would get a pretty good used dual sport. Back in 2010-11, when I bought my first dual sport, I got it for $2,000. It was a used DRZ-E. Plastics were pretty beat down, but the engine was very good because the plastics were beat down because it was just parked. The rubber was gone. It was dry rot and everything else, but those were all cosmetics. What counted was the frame and the motor, and the electronics were all functioning perfectly. And I ended up turning that bike into a pretty solid, really nice bike with very minimal cost. At the most, I probably put in about, give or take, maybe $1,500 all together from where it was to where I got it. And that's full exhaust system, carb upgrades, all new plastics, tires, chain tensioner. Almost anything you could do to the DRZ minus the big bore, I did. And at max, it cost me $3,500 overall, including buying the bike. Upgraded lights, signal, everything. So, was it worth it? Hell yeah, it was worth it. And then it got me onto this bike. Because what I ended up doing was getting rid of that DRZ and getting the KTM by pure luck. It was just absolute timing. Timing was everything how I jumped onto this bike. There's no way I'm going to go out and pay $8,000 or whatever it is for a brand new KTM. I just don't have that kind of money to put in recreational stuff right now. And with that money, I would have gotten probably an off-road rig fully set up, which I can take the family in to go off-roading. But I got this KTM for pretty much nothing. It went from the DRZ to this at no cost to me. Huge upgrade. My point I'm trying to make is just get a dual sport. I'm saying that it's better than a moped, of course, because you get the power to be in traffic. You can gear this thing to hit over 100 miles an hour. When I first got this thing and I test drove it, it got me all the way up to 120 in 6th gear. It was geared down way crazy low, or high, whichever way you look at it. High speed, let's just say that, top speed. Wasn't geared for off-roading, which I changed the sprockets to gear it to my riding style, which is I wanted the fast acceleration, as you saw back there, to get out of traffic, out of harm's way, but not at the top speed where I can get myself into trouble, because this bike wasn't meant to go at 120. It can, but it just wasn't built that way. Not like the cafe bikes, which are meant for that speed. Then I get the benefit of being able to look on the side of the road and just jump off it whenever I want to, without putting myself in danger and still having that capability. It's almost like owning a 4x4 truck. How often do you use the 4x4 on your truck? But you have it, and whenever you want it, you can use it. And at most times, you don't have to pay, double the price to get that type of capability. Anyway, this is the famous Carabao Dzotnya. We're in the village now. I don't want to disclose where I'm going, so I'm going to cut you guys off here, and we'll continue on probably a part 2 on the way back, and we'll see where it takes us, and we'll continue this conversation. Anyway, thanks again for watching, and stay tuned for the next episode. Peace out.